It is member-supported Hawaii Public Radio, all things considered, and I'm Dave Lawrence. Today we are joined by a guitar player, producer, gifted songwriter, actor. He's crossed paths with some folks that can just imagine the stories he's got since entering his life of music at just 6 years old when he was in school. He's got a chance to, according to his Wikipedia page at least, working with Bohannon as a teenager in the 60s. And then his life would intersect with the Spinners, Marvin Gaye, being a studio musician for Holland Dozier Holland's Invictus Hot Wax recordings, playing on stuff and working with Stevie Wonder, Barry White, Shaka Khan. The list is way too long to sit here and go through. He's also the guy who wrote the theme for one of the most popular movies, Ghostbusters. He's with sax player Michael Langton tonight and tomorrow, 6:30 and 9 shows at the Blue Note. Our pleasure to welcome Ray Parker Jr. Hey, Ray, thanks for doing this.
It's good to be here.
It's great to have you on. And what's your background with Hawaii? When was the last time you were here?
I was here, let me see, I think December I was here because my niece was graduating Hawaii State University.
So you didn't play, you were just here on vacation, I guess.
Just here on vacation, just visiting, yeah.
And any kind of special experiences that you've got that when you think of the state going back over your history, just don't want to leave out anything? Maybe you got friends here?
The big thing I remember about Hawaii is I came here with Stevie Wonder for the first time when I was 18, decided I was going to go surfing. And the board hit me in the head. I thought I was passed out. And by the time I got the board, I drifted off in the hotel. I mean, it was one heck of an experience.
And did you have to get rescued?
I didn't have to get rescued, but because I don't think anybody saw me. But let me tell you something. That was interesting.
Oh, frightening sounds like a better word.
Yeah, it was very frightening at the time.
Was that when he was opening for the Stones?
No, that was afterwards. We just came here. It was just him playing.
Okay.
But I did do the tour where he opened for the Stones.
Right. I was just checking there.
That was a lot of fun.
I can imagine. And with these shows, in terms of like the set list, what kind of music we're going to be hearing, describe for us what's in store.
I wish I could describe for you, but I have no idea. This is Michael Langton's show, so I'm going to play whatever he says to play. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to play one of my instrumentals, because it's a jazz club. After midnight, we will play that, which most people are surprised. They don't know I made that record years ago. Because it's one of the favorites. And then maybe I'll sing a song. We got to play a little bit of Ghostbusters, right? Otherwise we get hit with tomatoes or something. Yeah. Yeah, we do a little medley, stuff like that. So we'll have a good time.
You know what's cool is a lot of times these days you hear about early childhood development and how it can impact a person. And I guess you would be one of the many musicians who's sort of like a poster child for what can happen when someone is influenced at a very early age, just 6 years old. And would you credit the school? How do you credit and tell the story of how the clarinet enters your life?
Well, at that stage, I'm going to say the most important person was my elementary school teacher, a guy named Mr. Kirby, Alfred T. Kirby. He was really a wonderful guy. And, it all came about even meeting him because I didn't want to dance with the girls in gym class. So I went to the principal of the school and said, look, is there anything else I could do? Because I hate this class where we switch partners and we go round and round. I just didn't want to do it,
And so they put you into music instead?
Yeah, the principal waited about 60 seconds. Like, did this little punk kid come down here and tell me what he's going to do and not do? I remember that look on his face.
You end up playing clarinet as part of, so obviously school, huge influence putting the instrument into your hand. And then I saw an interview with you that you had been watching the Ed Sullivan Show, and that's how you discovered someone playing the guitar.
Yeah, I thought of Loving Spoonfuls, and John Sebastian had, I think, a white Stratocaster or something similar. And they actually showed him walking out with the guitar and a cable and plugging it in the amp and turning the amp up. I thought that was just too cool.
And that's what inspired you to want to do the guitar.
That inspired me, yeah.
The electricity.
For some reason, the guitar had the magic for me. It's not that I wasn't good on the clarinet because I had first chair and all city band and stuff like that. I could read the music and execute everything, but I didn't have any creative ideas on the clarinet. Opposite of Michael, I played the sax. I had nothing to play on the saxophone that wasn't written down. If it wasn't written down, I couldn't play it.
Years later, did you ever get to tell John Sebastian what an influence he played in your life?
Believe it or not, no, I have not met him yet.
Isn't that crazy?
He's one of the people I would like to meet.
Yeah, because your path has crossed. You've met a lot of folks. That would be a fun story.
A lot of folks, but I have not met John Sebastian. And the song that blew me away was "What a Day for a Daydream."
Right. Yeah. That's a great tune too. That is a great tune. So what do you do, if you can explain it to the rest of us, to learn to play so good that by your teenage years you were playing with Bohannon, then by 16 you're playing guitar for the Spinners, and it says writing songs with Marvin Gaye?
Well, a couple of things happened at 10 years old that I don't wish on anybody. One was I broke my leg and had a cast around my toes going all the way up to my waist.
Ooh.
You know, and so I was in a crippled school for a year and a half and all that. So I had actually absolutely nothing to do but practice, like many, many hours a day. If I woke up, I couldn't walk anywhere, and I was completely immobile. So all I could do was practice my guitar over and over. So I got really, really good at it in a short amount of time.
That's a great story, and that makes a lot of sense. How had you broken it?
Riding a bicycle. You know, in the old days, you had like a 5-speed dragster, which was a banana seat low-end bike. And you stick your foot out to turn the corners, you know, around the curve.
Right.
Well, my foot got caught in the curve while I was going too fast. Then when I heard it snap and snapped around, then I checked. Then I stuck it in the back rear spokes, and then I fell on it.
Man, that's a painful lesson, but boy, didn't the world get some flip side out of that. And how does what is the Marvin Gaye part of the story?
Well, Marvin, we were working at the 20 Grand with Hamilton Bohannon, and that was like the Motown band. So one of the Motown bands, not the Funk Brothers. But Marvin Gaye wanted to go in and try something new because he just finished What's Going On. So he chose us to be the band to go in and do it with him.
And you're like, what, 16, 17? How old are you at that time?
15. I couldn't drive at that time.
15. You still remember? Were you blown away at that?
I can remember clear as day, because the best day of my life, everybody was smoking weed at the studio, and they looked over at me and they felt bad because I was an underage kid. So Marvin had one of those Cadillacs that's in the movie Superfly.
Right.
With the bug eye, but he had a burgundy one. It was tricked out. I mean, the absolute. If you lived in Detroit, this was as sharp a car as you could possibly want to drive. And he looked over at me. I don't think I had my driver's license yet, and he just said, "Here's the keys. Go take a spin for a couple hours." You know. Oh. So here I am going to high school, where I should have been anyway. I was sneaking out of high school to record with Marvin Gaye. But I showed back up at my high school, and Marvin Gaye's $45,000 Cadillac, all tricked out. You know. And as soon as I saw my friends, I immediately realized that I couldn't stop because they were going to try and get in the car. So I just kind of rolled the windows up and left them, blew the horn and showed off. And it was the best 2 hours of my life. I just drove around having a great time.
It's unbelievable. That's a great story. An unusual one, too. And did you maintain a relationship with him over the years?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did a lot of his records. I did the Distant Lover live album. Soundtrack he did at Oakland. I'm on the I Want You album. So, yeah, we did a lot of stuff. Last time I saw him was at the Grammy Awards in '84. We were both nominated for a Grammy in the same category. Me, Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye, and Stevie Wonder, which I thought was a huge honor. I lost, but I still thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
Right.
Nominated next to those guys, you know.
Totally. And that he lost his life not long after that then.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now then you maintained it through the years, and I mean, so would you also, that same story, would you say the reason that you got the studio gig doing the guitar work with the Holland Dozier Holland recordings had to do with basically having broken your leg and being able to hone your skill to be that good?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. All of the above, playing Jewish bar mitzvahs and weddings, playing jazz gigs, just everything prepares you for what you got to do next. Just getting the experience of playing at the 20 Grand every night was unreal.
Another experience, though, that obviously shaped your life enormously, in fact, I've heard you say it's one of the greatest moments ever for you, was the day that Stevie Wonder came into your life.
That was a game changer, Stevie Wonder, because I thought he was the musical genius of the 20th century, and how about I was right? I mean, even today, I'd answer that question the same way. And, you know, he called me up and just said, "Hey, I've heard a lot about you. You don't have to audition. I want you to be in the band. Come play this tour with me. I want you to play on a Talking Book album, and I want you to play on the Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young record." You know, so that was a lot of information for a kid 18 years old in college. And I had told him he had to wait a day or two while I talked to my father, because I had to drop out of college and kill my parents' dream to go do this. You know?
So you never graduated to pull this off?
No, I never finished the first year of college. I left college to go on tour with the Rolling Stones and Stevie Wonder.
That's just unbelievable. I mean, and that's one of those choices. Obviously, I think everyone would say you made the right one. And so,
At that time, it's probably okay.
did that make your dad proud?
No, they wanted me to go to college. They never really heard of Stevie Wonder or the Rolling Stones. They could care less.
Right.
My dad was like, you're not getting no pension in retirement. You don't get no, benefits, and they just wasn't feeling it.
Right. It didn't have the same currency or the same reliability that an education would have. And that would make some sense there too. You mentioned it. You recorded on his Talking Book record, and again, we're talking with Ray Parker Jr., who's going to be at the Blue Note this weekend. Real exciting time for us. When you think about doing that record with him, any memories of the sessions? One of the other tunes on there features Jeff Beck, and it's just one of those formative albums. Anything that sticks out in your mind?
Well, what sticks out in my mind that I didn't find out later. We recorded that song, Maybe a Baby, at Crystal Sound. And now a friend of mine, Steve Perry, was the lead singer of
Journey.
Big group. Journey, yeah. He was the second engineer back then.
Wow.
At Crystal Sound Studios. So that was so me and him talked about that quite a few times. He's the second engineer on the sessions back then.
That's incredible. So you're saying there he is. And this is several years before, not that many years, but several years before the Journey thing. He was working in the studio, and years later he told you about that. Yeah, he's our second engineer. By the way, at that period of life, it's interesting. It doesn't seem like things were that far apart, but at the time that you're doing it, everything seemed like they were 20 years apart. You're saying so it didn't seem like they were all nestled in real close together.
No, they didn't seem close together. Like when I think of the Stevie Wonder days to like my first record, Jack and Jill, it's really only a few years, but it seemed like 20 years.
Right. I know what you mean too. And when you're younger, things seem different. When you're older,
they seem slower.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I can spend three years just on one guitar part.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. Totally.
It's so slow. It's like, what the heck?
No, it's perception of time changes massively when you're a kid. How many dates did you guys end up doing with the Stones on that tour?
We did all of them.
So it's like a 20, approximately big.
Oh, no, it was about 4 months.
Wow. And it was arenas and stadiums too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know why I say that? Because when I was a kid, or in my 20s at least, one of my favorite bootlegs was, I'm from the Philly area, so it was a bootleg of you guys JFK Stadium.
Oh, JFK Stadium. I remember that too, yeah.
So you did them both on that same tour?
I think we did the JFK Stadium on that tour and then went back to the Spectrum with Stevie Wonder. But I remember playing the Spectrum a few times.
Wow. But you guys opened for the Stones at JFK, which is the place they did Live Aid at, 90,000 seats. Unbelievable.
And then we came back at the end of the night and played 2 songs with the Stones. We played Satisfaction and Uptight.
Of all the learning processes as you're gaining stuff,
I learned more with Stevie Wonder than anybody.
Have you guys maintained a good relationship through the years?
Yeah, I'd say it's a love-hate relationship. He loves me, but he hates me at the same time.
Why would he hate you?
He hates me. He's mad at me because I left the band. He makes that very clear. He's told me as recently as earlier this year. I heard his feelings leave the band. But then at the same time, he says he's proud of me for doing all the things that I've done. But I still pissed him off for leaving. We were like a family,
And was that to go to the Barry White gig, or why was that you?
No, I wanted to make my own records. I wanted to do more than just be the background guitar player.
You regret that now, or no?
Not at all.
It was important for you to do.
Big time important. Otherwise, I'd be a musician making hundreds of dollars a week.
Right. Instead of running your own thing. I get what you're saying. It was
exactly. It was a major change when I got my own first hit records.
And I get that now. Only in talking to you can I see that. Because if you're not if you're not a musician, you're looking at that as another good gig. But what you're saying is, even though it's a good gig, it would hold you back from even bigger things that could have happened.
Well, I wouldn't be living like I live now.
How long did you work with Barry?
Barry, I did all his records. I think I only went on one tour with him. There's one time I went just for the fun of it. But I wrote You See the Trouble with Me, and I wrote Always Thinking of You. And that You See the Trouble with Me, boy, that's on all his greatest hits albums. We sold about 7 or 8 million records of that song.
So you still get the
did really
publishing.
well. But back in those days, I didn't have the publishing because Barry took all the publishing because he was already a big act, which is sort of fair. But all the other songs, I own them just about all the publishing, all my songs.
What's a cool story of hanging with him with his deep voice? It just makes you laugh when you think.
First of all, Barry White was one of the kindest guys in the world. He seemed like a gangster, tough guy when he had that big voice yelling at everybody. But, I'll never forget him saying, Ray, nobody gets a song on Barry White. No way, no how, no nothing. And his manager lived in my building, so he drove over to my building, parked his car in the wrong spot in front of the gate. And I wanted him to hear a song because I'm trying to sell it to him. So I come with my little convertible Mercedes, and to hit the gate hits his white Mark 7, lifts it up, crashes on it, and he pulls the gate off. So now he got to fix the gate, and he got to fix his car. And he looks at me and says, Ray, thanks, I needed that. And he's pissed off. And I said, well, okay, but listen to this song. So I pushed him in my car and made him listen to the song. And you know what? By hook or crook, that wasn't the end of the story. I had to get Gene Page, the famous arranger, to write the charts for me. And one day when we were finishing early at the studio, Barry was about to go home. And I said, why don't you let me cut my song? He said, you can't cut your song. You don't have no charts. I said, well, I got the charts. Why don't you just go home and let me do it? And I cut the track. He wrote the words, and we sold millions of records. But that's even after I tore up his car. So, I mean,
What does that say, right?
Pretty kind guy.
Exactly.
Pretty kind guy.
Right. I like that.
When I saw his car get tore up, I said, shoot, I'm not even going to be playing on the record no more, let alone talking to him,
You thought that was the end right there.
I thought that was it.
It was right around when I guess hooking up with him, you end up in this all-star sort of cast in this Uptown Saturday Night, Sidney Poitier, Bill Cosby, Harry Belafonte.
Believe it or not, that's before Barry White. The very first thing I did when I got to California was do that Uptown Saturday Night. I didn't have a job, so I got a friend of mine said, I got something for you to do this week. You could be an extra in the film. And I had already played with Bill Cosby in Detroit with Michael Henderson because, Bill Cosby, like everybody, played with Miles Davis. And Michael Henderson played with Miles Davis. And he was older than me, and he played 20 grand with me. So we ended up in Detroit, all going to the Fisher Theater playing with Bill Cosby. And so when I saw Bill Cosby at that film set, I wanted to hook up with him, and it was impossible. He must have been a line of 50 people around him in every direction.
Wow.
Bill Cosby looked like Muhammad Ali or something. There was just no way to get to him, So I remembered that he liked Cuban cigars. So I drove downtown Los Angeles and figured out I'd buy some illegal Cuban cigars. So I got the Cuban cigars and gave those to, I held it up the next day. And even though I was a long ways away from Bill Cosby, he saw the Cuban cigars and summoned me over. And then I got in his band and played, and we were buddies ever since.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And did you get to meet Richard Pryor on that set, or?
Oh, first of all, not on that set, but Richard Pryor had a kids show called Pryor's Place. Well, I wrote the theme song, and I'm in the video with Richard Pryor.
Wow. How did you get to know him?
Well, that was just because by that time I had a lot of hit records, and they wanted me to write the theme song.
Right, because you had a name.
So he was very nice. Yeah.
And that was fun. Any remarkable experiences of working with that legendary, incredible, inspiring cat?
I remember Richard Pryor. He said to me one day, he brought me a gift back from Africa. He gave it to me, and he looked at me with a funny, serious face. He says, "Why are you doing this? You don't need this money. What are you doing this kid show for?" And I was speechless. I said, "Because you're doing it." Yeah,
we
had a good time.
He was special, huh? He was a real remarkable. Mm-hmm. He was one of my.
Yeah, he's a very talented guy.
When I look back as being a little boy, my mom had MS and passed, so I guess maybe that might have something to do with why I just feel connected to Richard. And just two more questions, I'll let you go. You got to work a laundry list of people. I didn't actually mention her when I was introducing you, ironically. Latoya Jackson.
Oh, okay, yeah. I did her album. I haven't seen her in years. I know all the Jackson family forever, but I haven't seen Latoya for years.
So you just did the one record with her? The one record,
yeah.
And you knew the family, what, just from session? How did you know the family? From gigs or?
Just hanging around L.A. everywhere. I mean, Jackie was the first one I met when I was about 18. And for some reason, I played on a lot of the records, too.
With Michael, too?
I still do, yeah.
When did you cross paths with Michael?
Oh, immediately when I first got to town.
Like right back in the early 70s?
In the 70s. Yeah, I remember when I got my first Rolls Royce. He had a Rolls Royce. He tried to run me over.
That's some funny stuff. Well, final question for you, and obviously it's an important one. A lot of people would say a piece of your talent is going to be part of their life forever, because I've heard you talk about it. When you get something in a movie, it goes far, huh? And it's like just the amount of legs that it's got, the juice it has. So talk about what led to writing the Ghostbusters theme and how it ended up being this massive thing for you.
Well, it wasn't going to be much. It was just supposed to be a minute, 20 seconds in the library scene. And it's one of those things, it just turned into a monster. It started off as a little plant, and it just grew into a monster. No way did I know it was going to do all that. They called me to do it because they liked the other records I've done. And it was just start off as a really, really small thing, and it just turned into a monster. Next thing I know, I did that saying, "Who You Gonna Call?" And it's like the #1 Halloween song of our time. And what I like most about the song is all the kids now, 5 or 7 years old, they all know that song like it just came out yesterday.
Right. Yeah, it has a timeless quality to it, doesn't it?
It's a timeless quality, yeah. And that saying, "Who You Gonna Call?" it just took off, just made it,
It really did. Any interaction with those cats and the actors in the film?
Yeah, well, we did the video together, but we don't hang out. Me and Ernie Hudson hang out more. We're going to Scotland together in a few months.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Just for fun?
We're doing some kind of Comic-Con thing over there.
Okay.
But it's mainly just for fun. Yeah, I told him I'll go if he's going, then we take our wives with us, and we just, hang out and have a good time.
So that's a relationship that started there and has stayed with you as part of your life?
Exactly, yeah. But he's a wonderful guy, Ernie Hudson.
That's fantastic. No, that's really cool. And you ever get any feedback from Stevie on that song?
Oh, yeah. We've talked about that.
Was he proud of you on that one?
Well, I wouldn't say that because it was nominated against him for an Oscar. He was a little bit nervous. He wasn't speaking to me that day until he won. Then he told me, "Ray, don't feel bad. If you ever need an Oscar, you can borrow mine." Then I took the British Oscar from him, but he forgave me for that, I guess. I got a bad feeling had I taken the Oscar, because he had never been nominated before. Had I taken that Oscar from him, I don't know if we'd ever be speaking again.
Right, I was going to say. He probably would never talk to you again in your life. He's playing tonight and tomorrow with Michael Langton over at the Blue Note. It's Ray Parker Jr. Shows at 6:30 and 9. It's been a huge thrill having him on All Things Considered with us. Hope you had a good time today. I really do appreciate this.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. Aloha, everybody. It's Ray Parker Jr., and it's a treat to join you here on All Things Considered. We're spending the afternoon with our friend Dave Lawrence. Aloha, Dave. And I'm here to ask, who you going to call? Since we're having a pledge drive, I hope you're going to call us, Hawaii Public Radio. Here's Hal, and thanks for giving HBR a helping hand.
God bless you, Ray. Have a great trip, man.
Okay, man. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Aloha.
Bye-bye.